This is the Clever Charlie here, and this is the SQA National 5 Maths exam for 2017 non-calculator paper here in front of us, and I'm going to open up at question 5, which is right here, and it comes with an illustration. We should read this question carefully as there's quite a lot of information. It's worth 2 marks. The diagram, which you can see quite clearly there, shows a square-based pyramid placed on top of a cube relative to the coordinate axes, which you can see there are x, y, and z, so this is 3D vectors. The height of the pyramid is half the height of the cube. A is the point 6, 0, 0. The point C is directly above the centre of the base. Write down the coordinates of B and C. Okay, so we know the A point is 6, 0, 0, but we do not know the length of the cube. Okay, now the 6 refers to the x, the 0 would refer to the y, and the other 0 would refer to the z. First one is x, the second one is y, and the third one is z. Okay, so we need to figure out the length of this side before we can proceed with anything else. And the A, between O and A, that is the full length of the base. So we have 6, 0, 0 we've got here, which means x equals 6 here. That's 6 along x, and it's 0 along x here because it's 0, 0, 0. So we need to figure out how much along is this along the x-axis. That would be 6 because it's x equals 6 at this point. So we know that the distance OA, shown there, is 6. We need to use that to find out this breadth and the height of it. We know with a cube that all of the sides are the exact same length they'll be. The edges will be, so we know that this here will be 6 as well. And this height will be 6 as well. That is what we know so far. We'll answer the question which says write down the coordinates of B and C once we find all the information. But first we could technically do B here, because we know that each of the length, breadth and height would be 6, because as a cube we know that they're all going to be the same. So we know B is over here. We could find B by using the x, y and z coordinates of what we've calculated so far. So we need to look at the diagram and observe. For this point B, you do not go along the x-axis, which is along here, and here, and here, and over here. You do not go across that. So we know that the value of x here will be 0. So we know x, when we write down the coordinates, it would appear pretty much like this. So we can write down what B would be for the x coordinate like that. We know the first thing is going to be 0. Alright, so now we're going to look at the y axis. This is the y axis here. So that it would be equal that because that's parallel. So with that, parallel to that, and that. So all 4 of them represent your y-axis. So as it would appear here, you actually do need to go across the axis to get to your journey towards this B here. So you would actually have to go along here and up here this we'll discuss about later, but we know here that the y is going to be the exact same as what it is right here, because they're in line. So that's also going to be 6, and we'll fill that in the coordinate section. So we have O and 6, and we will just look at the Z up here. The Z is up here, so that will refer to this, 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 and that. So we need to work out if we actually need to go across the Z axis to get to the B. Turns out we do, because this is parallel to the Z axis. Therefore we have to go up the Z axis. These are in line here because we know this is square this face. That is 6. That is 6. That is 6. So up here, there, and to there, we know it's also going to be 6. So for the Z coordinate, we'll put in 6 here. And not necessary here, but what I've done to show you what I'm referring to, the X is 0, the Y is 6, and the Z is 6. So we've found the coordinates of B. Now we'll look at C. We'll read all the information again and check for anything about C. We need to use facts about the pyramid here. We know that the height of the pyramid is half the height of the cube. The height is referring to the Z axis. Z for here is 6. Okay, so here, the height of this would be, from here up to here, would be thigh. So the height of the pyramid is thigh. So up to the C is the highest point of the whole shape. So to find that, we need to add the height of the cube and height of the pyramid. So 6 plus the thigh up here gives you 9. So we know right here that the Z coordinate is going to be 9. But we'll look at the other coordinates. We've done that one first as we have a piece of information written down about it. But we can also look at the X and Y coordinates in any order. We'll do that just now. The C point, it says, is directly above the centre of the base. Okay, to find the centre of the base, it would be in the middle of the X-axis and along half of the Y-axis, which would be this point right there. So to go along here, you would need to go half of 6, which would be 3. And to go up there, you'd have to go half of the 6, which would also be 3, because here, which is actually on the X-axis, so it's thigh. Okay? So for this one, we know that the X-axis, we've got the Z-axis will go up here, so we have our Z-axis already, and we're just going up, so it's a case of going up 9 there. So we have thigh, and 9, because we know that the point C is directly above the centre of the base, and the coordinates of the centre of the base is thigh 3, 0. So going up 9 would give you thigh 3, 9. Fill that in right there. That would be thigh 9. We'll read the question one more time to check everything. The diagram shows a square-based pyramid placed on top of a cube relative to the coordinate axes. And I will rub out this so we can see it clear once again. Height of the pyramid, half the height of the cube. We worked out that this height of the cube is 6 because this is 6. So the height of that is 3. A is the point 6, 0, 0. So again, we worked out that for B, you don't need to go across the X-axis, but you need to go across the Y-axis and the Z-axis. So we get 6 for each of them. It was 0, 6, 6. The point C is directly above the centre of the base. The base is half along, so it's thigh 0. Because we don't have to go up the x-axis to find the base, but we do have to go up 9 along the z-axis to get to the point C, because it's at the highest point. So that's 9 there. So we get there thigh 3, 9. Need to put the comma there. Okay, so we've worked out the answer to this question.